What happens when the world's most beloved soft drink stumbles and nearly loses its crown? In the mid-1980s, Coca-Cola, the very symbol of American culture, made a decision so disastrous that it sent shockwaves through the beverage industry and alienated its most loyal customers. Faced with declining market share and relentless pressure from Pepsi, Coca-Cola's leadership gambled big, only to trigger public outrage and risk destroying the brand's identity. But this isn't just a story of failure, it's one of resilience. From the ashes of controversy rose one of the greatest marketing comebacks in history, cementing Coca-Cola's status as an icon of survival. Welcome, this is the Roots to Riches channel, where the journey of success unfolds. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications so you never miss out on incredible stories about how the biggest companies in the world began, their toughest challenges, and the inspiring road they took to greatness. Plus, we'll be sharing life-changing tips along the way. Your support is key to growing this channel. Please share these stories with your friends, family, and anyone looking for inspiration. Thanks for being part of the journey. Imagine a world without Coca-Cola. No fizzy drink on a hot summer day, no iconic red cans, and no brand etched into our memories. Hard to believe, right? But what if I told you there was a time when Coca-Cola almost disappeared? In this video, we'll uncover how Coca-Cola faced its darkest days, made monumental mistakes, almost went bankrupt, and yet came back stronger than ever. And by the end, you'll walk away with lessons that could help you face your own battles, even the ones that feel impossible to win. Coca-Cola's story begins in 1886 with a struggling pharmacist named Dr. John Stith Pemberton in Atlanta, Georgia. Pemberton wasn't just any pharmacist. He was a curious inventor, constantly experimenting with different concoctions, and like many entrepreneurs of his time, he was chasing a big idea that could transform his life. One day, while tinkering in his backyard, he mixed together a fragrant syrup made from a secret combination of coca leaves, cola nuts, and other natural ingredients. His creation wasn't just a drink. It was originally marketed as a health tonic that could cure everything from headaches to fatigue. The tonic was initially sold by the glass at a local pharmacy for just 5 cents per serving, a bargain even by 19th century standards. Coca-Cola sold for just 5 cents a glass. Can you imagine? Today, you'd be lucky if 5 cents gets you a sip of water at an airport. But here's where it gets really interesting. Pemberton named the drink Coca-Cola, but he didn't do it alone. His bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, suggested the now iconic name and even designed the famous script logo we still recognize today. Coca-Cola's early days were modest. The drink sold about 9 servings a day in its first year, not exactly the start of a billion-dollar empire. But the unique taste, refreshing fizz, and clever marketing slowly began to draw attention. By the late 1880s, sales began to pick up as people started flocking to soda fountains to get their daily dose of this magical elixir. So, what started as a backyard experiment by a struggling pharmacist grew into a small but promising business, one that would soon revolutionize the beverage industry. And the lesson here? Sometimes success doesn't happen overnight. It starts with a single idea, a little determination, and of course, a touch of fizz. After Pemberton's death, the rights to Coca-Cola were passed around like a hot potato. Asa Candler bought the formula for a mere $2,300, but poor business planning and counterfeiters making knockoff versions caused a financial strain. Coca-Cola was losing customers fast. Ever felt like you had a great idea, but watched someone else steal the credit? Or your customers? Coca-Cola sure did. Fast forward to the 1980s. Coca-Cola was on top of the world, but got overconfident. They decided to replace the beloved classic formula with New Coke. The public hated it. But why would Coca-Cola mess with something that wasn't broken? Great question. Hold that thought, because the answer is even crazier than you think. Imagine this. You walk into your favorite pizzeria, the one you've been loyal to for years, and they say, "Hey, we know you love our classic pepperoni pizza, so here's broccoli pizza instead." You'd probably laugh, right? Then cry. Then maybe riot. Well, that's exactly what happened when Coca-Cola introduced New Coke in 1985. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Customers revolted. phone lines at Coke's headquarters lit up like a Christmas tree, flooding the company with over 400,000 calls and letters of complaints. Letters poured in by the thousands. Some people even formed protest groups like the Society for the Preservation of the Real Thing. Yes, that's how deeply people cared about their Coke. They weren't just drinking a beverage, they were sipping nostalgia, memories, and comfort. And Coca-Cola? They completely underestimated how emotionally attached their fans were to the original formula. It wasn't just a product, it was a cultural icon. In 1985, Coca-Cola made the bold and controversial decision to change its iconic formula, introducing what came to be known as New Coke. This move is often regarded as one of the most infamous marketing blunders in history. However, the decision to alter something as beloved as Coca-Cola wasn't made lightly. Here are the key reasons Coca-Cola chose to mess with their winning formula. Pepsi had been gaining ground on Coca-Cola in the early 1980s. Its aggressive Pepsi Challenge marketing campaign, which showcased blind taste tests where consumers preferred Pepsi over Coke, posed a significant threat to Coca-Cola's dominance. These tests suggested that consumers found Pepsi's sweeter flavor more appealing, particularly among the younger demographic. As a result, Coca-Cola executives feared they were losing their edge and felt compelled to respond. Coca-Cola's market share had been steadily declining during the early 1980s. Pepsi was outselling Coke in supermarkets and had established a strong foothold among the younger generation. While Coca-Cola still led in overall sales, thanks to dominance in vending machines and restaurants, the gap was narrowing. Company leadership interpreted this trend as a warning that the classic formula might no longer resonate with the changing consumer base. 3. Coca-Cola conducted its own taste tests and found that when compared directly with Pepsi, many participants preferred a sweeter variation of Coca-Cola. This led the company to believe that reformulating their classic drink could better compete with Pepsi. While the tests suggested the new formula was a winner in terms of flavor, they failed to capture the deep emotional and cultural attachment customers had to Coke Classic. By the 1980s, Coca-Cola had been around for nearly a century, and the company worried the brand might feel outdated to younger consumers. The reformulation was seen as a way to refresh Coca-Cola's image and show that it could evolve with the times. This decision, however, underestimated the brand's power as a symbol of nostalgia and tradition. Executives underestimated the public's emotional connection to the original Coca-Cola formula. Coca-Cola assumed that customers would embrace the change because they believed their research proved the new flavor was objectively better. However, they failed to account for the strong identity and trust people associated with the original formula, and this miscalculation led to widespread backlash. When New Coke launched, public outrage was swift and intense. Loyal customers staged protests, and Coca-Cola's customer service lines were inundated with complaints. The company ultimately reintroduced the original formula as Coca-Cola Classic just a few months later, turning the failure into a comeback story that ultimately strengthened the brand's legacy. Coca-Cola changed its formula in response to competition, market trends, and an over-reliance on taste test data. However, the company underestimated the cultural and emotional attachment people had to the original Coke, leading to one of the most spectacular marketing failures in history. Yet, this debacle taught Coca-Cola the enduring power of its brand and how deeply it resonated with its customers. So, when the company tinkered with it, it felt personal, like someone trying to rewrite a beloved chapter of everyone's childhood. And here's the crazy part. What they thought was a bold, innovative move turned into one of the greatest marketing disasters in history. Ever tried to fix something in your life and ended up making it worse? Maybe redecorating your house or tweaking your grandma's recipe? Now imagine doing that, but making millions of people mad instead of just your grandma. Quick pause, help spread the word. A simple recommendation from you to a friend helps us reach more people and lets us keep creating content you love. Thanks for being part of this journey. As Coca-Cola fumbled with its controversial introduction of New Coke, mistakes that cost them millions in revenue and their reputation, competitors like Pepsi sensed an opportunity and were ready to pounce. Pepsi, already emboldened by its growing popularity during the Cola Wars, launched aggressive marketing campaigns, portraying itself as the superior choice for a younger, trendier audience. Slogans like "the choice of a new generation" struck a nerve with disillusioned Coke fans, making Pepsi appear innovative, while Coca-Cola seemed out of touch. Coca-Cola's leadership, meanwhile, found themselves cornered. Not only were they dealing with a public relations nightmare, angry customers were flooding them with complaints and boycotts, but their market share began to slip. The executives faced growing scrutiny from shareholders who were watching Pepsi creep closer to dethroning Coca-Cola as the top cola brand. Every passing day amplified the pressure, and the weight of the company's legacy, nearly a century of dominance, hung precariously in the balance. With Pepsi ready to steal the crown, Coca-Cola's leadership scrambled to repair the damage. It was a battle for survival, and the stakes had never been higher. Can you imagine building something for decades, only to watch it crumble because of a single decision? How would you even begin to recover? At this stage, Coca-Cola was drowning. Their stock prices were plummeting, they were losing market share, and morale within the company was at an all-time low. So who finally stepped in to save Coca-Cola from going under, and how did they do it? Enter Roberto Goizueta, the CEO who helped turn Coca-Cola's fate around. Goizueta decided to bring back the classic formula, branding it as Coca-Cola Classic. This was a genius marketing move that turned public backlash into nostalgia. Goizueta's decision was like hitting undo on a disastrous email you sent. Sometimes, the simplest solution is admitting you made a mistake and fixing it. Coca-Cola doubled down on its strengths, iconic advertising and emotional connections. Campaigns like "It's the Real Thing" and "Always Coca-Cola" helped restore public trust. Goizueta didn't just focus on the product, he focused on rebuilding relationships with customers. Remember, success isn't just about what you sell, it's about how people feel when they buy it. The company lost millions during its struggles, but the lessons learned were priceless. Coca-Cola emerged stronger and more innovative, and its survival became a testament to resilience and adaptability. Think about it. Coca-Cola survived bankruptcy, public outrage, and even Pepsi's attempts to take the throne. Honestly, it's starting to sound like a reality TV show. Here's the thing, just like Coca-Cola, we all face moments when we feel like everything is falling apart. A failed project, a bad decision, or a mistake that seems impossible to fix. But Coca-Cola's story proves that failure isn't the end, it's just a detour. What if Roberto Goizueta had given up? What if Coca-Cola had let Pepsi win? Remember, the next time you feel like giving up, think of Coca-Cola. You don't have to get it perfect, you just have to keep going. And here's the promised end reward. When you survive those tough moments, your comeback will be stronger than ever. People won't just remember your mistakes, they'll remember how you turned it all around. What did you think of Coca-Cola's story? Have you ever faced a moment in your life when you thought you'd hit rock bottom? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear it. The shocking downfall of Coca-Cola during the infamous New Coke era serves as a powerful reminder. Even giants can fall. Yet Coca-Cola's incredible rebound proves that listening to your audience and embracing your brand's roots can transform failure into triumph. Through a combination of bold decision-making, strategic humility, and unwavering focus on its loyal fan base, Coca-Cola not only reclaimed its place at the top, but also reinforced its legacy as a global powerhouse. This epic comeback isn't just business history, it's a lesson in how to turn the tide when all seems lost. If you love stories like this that inspire and motivate, hit that subscribe button. And remember, success isn't about never falling, it's about always getting back up. And hey, don't leave just yet. Check out the videos on the side. You won't want to miss what's next. Let's keep growing together.